get ready to welcome Ayana with some stand-up.
Hey y'all, it's so good to see everyone here. I'm so happy to be doing my favorite thing, which is talking to myself. If that statement wasn't any indication, I am a musical theater major. And you know, being a musical theater major, if you don't know what musical theater is, it's Broadway. If you don't know what Broadway is, it's this gay nightclub in New York. You should check it out. But being a theater actor is really weird because I find that it's a lot like being a superhero in that I'm only famous in costume in a very specific part of one city, and my main fan base are people who are virgins in high school. But we roll with it anyway. I'm just grateful to be here. I am from New York. There's a lot of pollution. It's very, very dirty. New York, as I like to call it, nature's litter box. And you know, it does have me stressed a lot about global warming. I stress about it a lot. I don't think I'm the only one. I read recently that the US birth rate is on the decline. And more specifically, this article touched on the shortage of white babies. So if anyone was worried, there is a white baby shortage. I thought I'd let you guys know that. And you know, I get it. I think it's because a lot of people are like, you know, something I hear a lot is people are like, oh, well, I don't want to have kids if they're going to have to deal with all these problems. I don't want to have kids and like they can't have a better life. And you know, I agree. I want to be a parent that fights for my children's future. And so to make sure my kids have a better life, I've decided that they will be white. And something tells me that's exactly what this nation needs. It's exactly what this country needs. But yeah, you know, I think in terms of like global warming and stuff like that, I think one of the main things holding us back right now is boomers. I think boomers are one of the most secretly suicidal generations we've ever had. If you don't believe me, go to any nursing home, get an old person alone in a room for more than 5 minutes, and they will say the most emo shit you've ever heard. Like when Little Uzi Vert said, "Oh, my friends are dead," he was talking about your grandmother. He had a conversation with her. The last time I was in a room with my grandfather for longer than 5 minutes, he randomly just said, "I could die right now." I was like, Jesus, this is a baby shower. I thought you'd be a little bit more excited. And you know, I guess boomers do have a lot of reasons to be upset. You know, like they don't really have anything more to look forward to. I mean, you're like, don't you want to watch your kids get married? They're like, we've traumatized them to the point where they're for sure unlovable. It's never gonna happen. Don't you want to see your grandkids? They're all gay. There's no procreation going on anymore. You know, and apparently, even if they do have a grandkid, it's not even gonna be white anymore. What's the point? What's the point in that? No fun. They have economy going for them still. I also read another article, because I'm oh so smart, that apparently when the boomers die, it's gonna be one of the biggest wealth transfers in modern history, because they have all the money. And I think for that reason, boomers are the most American generation, and that my relationship with America is like a wealthy relative, and that I'm just waiting for it to die so I can collect what I'm worth. But yeah, I think a lot of other stuff that we could probably get help with in terms of the boomers is I think we just need to like band together and turn this around. Like, you know, I feel like nowadays people don't really listen to authority, listen to science and stuff like that. And I don't think it's anyone's fault. I blame cartoons. Because if you watch any cartoon, think about it. It's always like the mad scientist, the evil scientist, or all the nerds are like into science or whatever. That's no fun. So I think we have a branding issue, and I propose we do it in the most American way possible, which I think is like an 80s movie. Like, you know those 80s movies where it's like, she was an average girl who wore glasses, and one day she became prom queen. I think we find the dweebiest, most annoying, like the type of kid that like calls other kids vagabond as an insult, like that kind of kid. We find them when we make a movie, and like Jimmy was an average scientist who no one listened to, and one day, through the power of science, he discovered the power of pussy. And I think that would really turn things around. Because at this point, I feel like anything has to be better than what we're doing now. Like, as it currently stands, drug dealers are the most respected scientists we have. You don't believe me, okay? When was the last time you went to a doctor? You know, they probably prescribed you some medicine or something, right? And you know, if you're good, you're gonna have some questions, right? The doctor prescribes you some medicine. You're like, okay, well, you know, I just want to know what is it supposed to do? You know, they'll explain to you. They're like, oh, you know, gets a dead version of the virus, puts it in your body, X, Y, and Z, yada yada. You're like, I don't know, sounds kind of sketch, sounds like a conspiracy. I'm not listening to that. You ask your drug dealer, okay, what does it do? How does it work? They're like, it gets you fucked up. It'll get you fucked up. That's the only way that they can answer that question. But if you're diligent, you'll at least move on to question 2. You'll move on to question 2. Okay, so question 2, you're like, okay, well, what happens? Like, what are the side effects? They're like, oh, you might have a headache. You're like, I'll stop you right there. Sounds like a microchip. You ask your drug dealer, okay, how did it make you feel? Like, what happened when you took it? Like, dude, I fucking died last night. Good enough for you, you know, and if not, you're gonna at least move on to question number 3, which is like, how do I obtain it, you know? They might be like, you have good insurance, just pop it on the store, really easy. CVS is a drive-through now, really easy to get it. You ask your drug dealer, okay, how do I obtain these drugs? They're like, yeah, so I'm gonna need you to only get Bitcoin, right? And then you're gonna have to go and drive to my house 30 minutes. I'm gonna say that I'll be there at 8. You won't see me till 10:30, the earliest. Oh, and one more thing, after you get it, you may or may not be arrested. But we do what we have to do to talk to the right people. So all I'm saying is, if you put drug dealers in charge of the climate crisis and public health, we might see some turnaround. I feel like currently we're in the influencer phase of the fight against climate change. Have you guys ever seen those Instagram posts where it's like, 1 like equals 1 tree planted? I never understood those, because I'm like, me liking the picture didn't give you a tree. It sounds like you already have the resources. I was told not to negotiate with terrorists. So I don't think that's a good idea. But you know, sometimes I think, and I'm like, all right, well, should I just like the picture? Because I'm like, a like is a very small price to pay, you know? Like, at the end of the day, what am I willing to do to make a change, you know? And I guess I thought about it and I realized I think the only way I would cooperate with one of those posts is if I could sacrifice a boomer instead. And that is my time.